Hello students, this is Miss Mishu and this is your negligence assignment. A tort is a private wrong committed by one person against another, and a tortfeasor is a person who commits a tort. Now let's talk about one of the most common types of torts, and that is negligence. And negligence is a tort that results when one person carelessly injures another. And as I said, it is the most common tort. Negligence is being careless and less careful rather than a reasonable person should be in the same situation. There are 4 elements of negligence. Number 1, the defendant owed the plaintiff a duty of care. The defendant breached that duty by being careless. Number 2. Number 3, the defendant's carelessness was the proximate cause of harm. In other words, it caused the harm. And number 4, the plaintiff was really hurt by the defendant's carelessness. Now let's look at a case that occurred in Maine. I'm going to show you 2 videos.
Investigators now, how safe are your children on a hayride at a local pumpkin patch? That question a lot of people's minds after 2 horrible accidents over the weekend. A teenage girl was killed and more than 20 others hurt in a hayride crash in Maine on Saturday. And in Idaho, another teen was hit and killed by a bus in a corn maze. On your side, investigator Joe Douglas has been looking into the safety of hayrides and other seasonal activities at local farms. And Joe, does anybody regulate this stuff?
No, there are no state or federal government regulations for hayrides. That basically means when you or your kids set foot on someone's farm, your safety is in their hands.
Cora, what do you like about the pumpkin patch? I like the ride.
Cora Jewett may just be 4 years old, but her mom says she's an old pro when it comes to hayrides.
We've gone every year since she's a baby, so this will be her 5th time.
At the pumpkin patch here on Sabi Island, notice the trailers that carry people don't have any railings. They also don't have safety chains on the hitches, which are required if you're towing a trailer on a public road. Bob Egger, the owner of the pumpkin patch, says chains aren't needed.
If you have chains on them, people will trip over. For railing, there's no railing. We've tried all types of stuff. And the railings, we put railings on one year and kids climbed on them and we felt it was super unsafe.
On a public roadway, there are a lot of regulations that are enforced by the state and federal government. But here on a private farm, those rules don't apply. You have children?
Yes.
They ride on these?
My son drives one. Yeah, he's 16.
Egger says this is a safe place. How do you pick who drives these?
From the operators throughout the season that are good drivers.
He says since they started offering hay rides in 1977, they've had more than 1 million riders who haven't been hurt. But Egger admits one woman sued him 4 years ago. What happened there?
She jumped off the wagon. She dropped a lawsuit after depositions.
I talked with the woman's lawyer and he wouldn't give me any more details. At a state and national level, there are no reliable statistics on the number of these kind of accidents because, again, hayrides are not regulated.
We're not going to risk our farm. That's what you'd be doing to do something unsafe.
OSHA, the Occupational Safety and Health Administration, does regulate worker safety on farms, but I sent them a list of 7 popular local hayrides, and they say none of them have been inspected over the past 5 years. Live on Sabi Island, Joe Douglas, K2 News.
Certainly worth the discussion, Joe. Thank you. If there's a story you want our investigators like Joe to look into, send us an email, investigators@katu.com.
So that's one example.
Investigators
And
now,
here's
how safe are your children?
the case that I want you to analyze. So I'll show you this video.
Carrying the most precious cargo of all, children. And yet you would think there would be some regulation or enforcement of regulations with teeth in it, and there's little if any. So that's the big concern. This case has all the markings of a perfect storm. We have a farm, 500 people visiting. It's a dark night. There's a lot of noise. There's people dressed in costumes. There's a narrator, as I understand it, on the hayride. You've got what seems to be a grossly undersized vehicle pulling a heavy trailer loaded with hay, with bales of hay, blankets, 24 people, and people are probably screaming excited. And it says from the stories I've read, he takes a couple of jerks to give it a little bit more excitement, and then accelerates over the hill. Now, common sense tells you that if you've got a light vehicle pulling a heavily loaded trailer that's not double wheeled, which we know adds stability factor, there's not a secondary set of brakes, there's no backup or safety system, you've got the makings of an accident. If I was a prosecutor, I would be hard-pressed not to open a criminal investigation. For the reason, at a first glance, it appears to me that the behavior here was so egregious and reckless. From that, just from looking at it, I'd want to know, geez, was this thing overloaded? When was the last time they inspected the hitch? Were the proper tires on this vehicle? Because you know what? Right now, there's a family mourning the loss of a 17-year-old girl. Her classmates and friends are mourning her loss, and this accident could have easily been
prevented was the last part of that. And so here's your assignment. In a Google document, you could just name it Negligence Assignment. What happened on the hayride? Prosecute the case. Number 2, explain why the company is guilty of negligence. And I want you to use all 4 elements of negligence. You can refer to your textbook on page 61, or I'll provide the slide to you as well on the assignment link, and any final thoughts that you might have. Thank you for listening, and if you need any help, please reach out to me. Have a good day.